Hello, Sue, and welcome to Entrepreneur Talks podcast run by Women Flakes. I'm so delighted and grateful for your presence on our podcast and looking forward to hear more about your journey and your life in general.
Thank you. It's really lovely to be here.
You're welcome. So, Sue, before I know you want to say something before we start, but also, can you tell us where you're calling from, where you're talking from?
Yep, sure. So I'm in Ireland at the minute. Um, and I live by the coast, which is just beautiful. Um, but I wanted to mention that yes, I am lying down for everybody. It's obviously going out in video so they can actually see that, but I do have a neck injury. An accident 12 years ago, but um, gradually lost the ability to sit up. But I still have things to say, so I just do the Zoom calls anyway. So,
Fantastic. So brave you are. Even like you said, just I am unable to sit down, sit up, but I still do, and I love it. I love it. That's really brave. You didn't you still got the strength to talk, and you use it, and that's really good. Thank you so much for being here with me today.
thank you.
You're welcome. So, would you like to tell us a little bit about yourself, your story?
Yeah, sure. I grew up in Northern Ireland during the 70s, 80s, 90s. So that's when there was a lot of terrorism in the country. So my first ever memory was in a bomb blast when I was two. Um, and then I survived three bombs by the time I was 11.
Wow.
Um, then I also suffered other traumas as a child and as I grew up into sort of adolescence. And then I ultimately moved to England where I um, became a fitness instructor specializing in injuries, which came in handy later.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, prepared me a little bit. And then I joined the emergency services and I was a paramedic in Birmingham in England.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was a police officer then back in Northern Ireland. Um, and then I um, went through a period of high stress. I developed complex PTSD, and unfortunately my best friend and partner in the police committed suicide, which sent me into a bit of a mental health spiral, very hard to deal with. And then 6 months later, my mum died, and I had to resuscitate her. She was only 54, so it was totally unexpected.
So young.
Very. So I took a break, decided to work in retail, and it was in retail then that I fell off a ladder and damaged my neck. And then after that, I decided, okay, so what's next? So I created a business in the gaming industry, which turned out to be quite successful. And then I really wanted to get back to helping people, so I moved back into helping with people with trauma and mental health issues, with obviously a passion to help first responders for, as one of my priorities, and people in general with trauma, and then also human trafficking survivors.
Wow.
And that's what I do now. That's a brief synopsis.
Yes, of course. But wow, what a journey. Wow. From very young, getting into bombs. And I didn't know Ireland had that kind of situation, like war. There we go. I'm from Portugal, but I don't know all the story, but I didn't have idea. That's a lot.
It's
Wow.
just Northern Ireland.
Northern. Oh, wow.
Yeah, Southern Ireland's different.
How old are you when you fell from the ladder?
So I was what, 30? 4.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
I'm just asking this curious because you already been a paramedic and then you went to police and then you decide to change because the situation that happened, like you lost your friend, right? Your colleague, right?
Best friend, yeah.
The best friend. She was a police
Yeah,
officer.
that's
She,
right.
yeah. And then your mom afterwards. And then you decide to move to retail. What were you doing on retail?
So it's okay. So people that know me are going to laugh. So, well, initially I started off just on the normal floor, but then they realized that I was very good in the changing rooms, because I used to catch all the thieves because of all my experience, right? So I used to do that a lot. And then, oddly, and this is the part everyone will laugh at because I've always been such a tomboy, but I actually became a lingerie specialist. And that's what I was working at the time that the accident happened.
A laundry specialist.
Lingerie, like seriously.
Ah, really?
Mm.
Laundry. I am interested in that.
Yeah, you see, I'm not. I mean, that's the odd thing. I was very good at selling it and putting it together, but I've always been I have 3 brothers, so I've always been such a tomboy.
But
So, and lived in uniforms. So, yeah.
wow, that was so cute. And then you were, yeah, and you were successful then because it,
Well, apparently,
really, really
seriously.
funny, very funny. And after that, you still carry on and you say, whoa, okay, okay, now I've got this injury, what I'm gonna do? And you started your own business by yourself with the injury.
Well, I fell into that. I had got into gaming. My brother introduced me into gaming after my mum had died, and I took that really hard. You know, as a paramedic, um, I was right there, and I did everything I could, and I couldn't get her back, and there was a lot of like emotions involved. There had
Really?
been a really traumatic incident the week before, and people can read about that in my book. Um, but ultimately, I launched my book just a month ago, by the way,
Well done.
which tells the story. But and then, um, where was I? Sorry, my meds
Oh,
affect my
you
memory now.
no worries.
Oh, the gaming industry, yeah. So I was into gaming, and there was this like opportunity to volunteer as part of this game tester program, and it was a game I loved. It was cops and robbers, typically.
Okay.
So loved it, and at that point I could still, sit up and use my arms and things like that. So I was doing quite well then. I was a bit bedridden, but I could sit up and move more. So I volunteered, and then I came up with an idea as to how they could organize it better. So they put me in charge of it, and then eventually the guy that was running it, that was paid, lost his job, and they gave me his job. But he moved on to a different job, and he became a manager in that role. And he said that the only way that he would take that is if they gave me assistant manager with them. I think I did such a good job running for things that he wanted me with him. So I actually went within 9 months of just being a game tester to actually being management level in one of the
Right.
top Korean companies for gaming, the partner of Samsung,
Yeah.
to
Wow.
actually work with those top industry professionals on a management level. It was amazing. 9 months it took. And then I created my own way of managing gaming communities. And
Oh,
oddly, it taught me how to manage hundreds of volunteers effectively and quickly. And I was like, what is all this about? This has nothing to do with my experience. But that's what I use now to do what I'm doing now with what I've literally just launched in the last 2 weeks.
that's
It's amazing how life prepared me each step of the way.
so true. Yeah. It's amazing because all I can hear is new things coming after one
Yeah.
and another. And you are always there and you can other. and you are always there, and you can conquer the and then you can carry on. And wow, this is
Well,
really
you know what though? I mean, this is the thing. People need to understand that every time we go through something difficult, we have a choice.
yeah,
You know,
that's
how
so
is this? How am I going to let this affect me? And I knew that when I was told my injuries are permanent and you're going to get worse, you're going to live in pain. Don't get me wrong, I obviously still have my pity parties. I need those. It's important to feel that as it comes up. And I still have, it's a year now since I was really stuck in bed looking out. Um, so I do have those bad days, but I knew mental health was the most important. But when I realized actually my emotions don't run me, my feelings don't run me, I control them, and I have these choices to make, that was when life turned around. And honestly, without the accident, I wouldn't have realized that, because I wouldn't have done the path that I have.
that's true.
It all it that's why my accident occurred. So I'm
Yeah,
grateful. And we have the choice to look back and be grateful, or we have the choice to kind of stay in that victim mode.
so true. And especially, how do you see now with this time of the year, with the COVID? Like we've been on COVID for 1 year and almost, no, more than a year already. We gotta come for, yeah, let's say a year. How do
Mhm.
you see yourself? How do you feel yourself and the people around you?
You know, um, it's mixed, isn't it? You have the people who um ended up actually, and don't get me wrong, it's been so tumultuous for everybody. There's been so much change, and so much for people to adapt to. However, I've seen people getting much more polarized and not accepting the other person's opinion as much. There seems to be a lot more of that happening, but I think a lot of that has to do with the anxiety and stress that
That's
people are finding. And they feel like they've lost control over their life, their environment. But the thing is that I had to learn that um, you can still control your immediate environment yourself
yeah,
by accepting the situation you're in and making the best of it, or fighting against it, not accepting it, and continuing to be anxious and depressed. And this is the difference. Now, it's a very hard transition. I'm not saying it's an easy transition, and it's not an easy thing to accept. Um, but it's a process that I've had to go through each step of the deterioration of my physical health,
hmm,
that I learned very quickly. Accept where you're at, do your best to manage it, and make as much effort as you can to adjust. But the other side of this though is things like domestic abuse is up 100%. Um,
that's
those that drink um have started to drink more, causing more stress to families, children, and so on. So I'm definitely seeing like we're getting an awful lot busier. So we launched a global trauma um
response.
response center, yeah, just in this new year, because we saw the need is so great, where we have people 24/7 available on an app on your phone that you
That's
literally just download, add it, and you can click the link, create an account, and go on there and just get help. There's a folder or a forum for different things that you're going through, and we have trauma debriefers there that can help you and arrange to talk with you via Zoom. You don't have to use your video, you don't have to give us your name, but we can be there to help take the edge off the trauma that you're actually currently going through.
mm,
And it's okay to get help. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay to be stressed out. But
yeah,
if you talk it through with someone who's not judgmental, who's completely confidential, who is providing you a safe space for you just to be able to talk and get your feelings out. And they'll normalize, you know, because what you're feeling is okay. It is normal to feel anxious at the moment. It is normal to feel low, to feel as though you've lost control. So come and talk to us about that. And we'll basically also help give you tools on how to cope if you do get anxious, if you are feeling depressed, or if you're dealing with some type of abuse and things like that. You're not on your own. Even though you feel like it isolated, reach out through the computer or your phone, and we'll be here to help you and provide you some support.
That's really good. Well done. Congratulations. And I can see the application is very, very helpful right now during these times. And you will be, and I believe you're having a lot of calls or a lot of people looking for support. And I do have a question regarding the app. It is for worldwide use, or is just for Ireland?
Worldwide. It's global.
Global. It's really, really good. I will have a look, and I can now have something that, there we go. I can advise someone, you need help, please go here and get help. Because the way you said, like you mentioned, that you don't need to give your name, your number or anything. Just talk with someone. That's really good. There's some people.
Well, what happens? So we'll give everybody the website link, and you can contact us on Facebook as well. We're on just search the Global Trauma Response Centre. There's an email you can contact, or there's a button you can press needing assistance. That'll take you to the forum, and then we'll show you, we tell you how to download the app. And again, create an account. You don't have to use your real name. And ultimately you can get help out there. Or then if you scroll down to the bottom to the contact us, there's a need assistance now button, and that'll take you to the consent form, because we do need your consent for us to contact you.
Right.
And you just fill out the brief details. It's kept completely confidential to a very limited number of well-experienced vetted people that we've personally trained.
Oh, wow.
That ultimately help manage your case and allocate it to the trauma debriefer that best suits your case. And we do try and match people up that also have in some way experienced something similar, so that there's a deeper level of empathy there. And we do ask for feedback then. So if it turns out that that person isn't a good fit for you, or you prefer to talk to somebody else, then we can arrange that as well. And these trauma debriefers are international as well, and they are internationally accredited.
Wow. This is an incredible work you're doing there. I'm sure it's going
to... What I did was I paired up with a very good friend of mine called Keshni Mathi, and she's an extremely good trainer. She's based in South Africa, and she trains in a way that I've never seen before, where the trauma debriefer becomes someone who needs debriefed as well. So again, they can understand where their client has gone through the process, and make sure that they've processed their own traumas as well. Wow. So it's very, very cleverly done. So that's why I've paired up with her, because that means, and the beauty too, and you know what it's like when you've been through trauma yourself, you can see on the app, for example, that you're good at helping people. Well, we can train you how to do what we do, and we keep it low cost and affordable for people. The whole app is free, by the way. Your trauma debriefing is free. If you need help, you need to talk to someone, it's free. Right. Okay. Now we can't, like, trauma debriefing is a very quick take the edge off. If we feel that you then need to go on to speak to a counsellor or some other type of practitioner, we do have a referral network. That's where my other network, the Collide Support Network, comes in, we're building up a referral network for practitioners that people can then be referred to for further
Okay,
treatment.
that's really good.
Okay, so trauma debriefing takes the edge off and helps with tools to help you not feel so anxious, or
Mm,
not feel so anxious, or
mm.
not feel so on edge. And then we give you those tools. And if you still need more help for past issues, because trauma debriefing is how you feel now and the future,
Mm-hmm.
the other stuff may be from the past that's now affecting your future, then we can refer you out as part of the network. And again, those people are vetted by us as well, so that we know that they know what they're doing.
That's really good.
So
And
it's a good setup. You know, it covers all angles.
right, right. And I
So
see.
sorry, her training school is the wellness specialist, because I always like to give that out so people can check out who we are.
Yeah,
Because I want people to do their research and know this is a genuine setup and so on. So please feel free, guys.
that's really good, Sue. Because I was about to say is, and all this, I believe, right? It starts, and you know exactly what you do, and you're doing with so much passion that I can feel through your words. Because first of all, you got the experience on paramedics, and then you on police as well, knowledge, connections, and then on the top of that, the trauma that you went through. So all these three things connected, they really brought you to where you are right now, and it's so powerful. It's like while I'm listening to you, I'm just thinking, wow, this is not a joke. This is real, and it's really genuine. I can feel and I can see that it's genuine, something that you're really doing because you want to help other people, and that's
Yeah.
really good, really, really
It's
good.
my legacy, really.
There we go. Yeah, and you mentioned that you released a book few weeks ago.
I did. It's called Overcoming Trauma on the Front Lines, but it's really for anyone who's experienced trauma, and it describes my path to healing. So
Oh,
when I was in the police, I was diagnosed with complex PTSD, and I was seeing a police psychologist. But honestly, they were just dragging up stuff from my past, but they weren't giving me any tools in which to actually help
change.
fix myself.
Mhm.
And it was my own journey then of discovering who I was without all the labels. Who am I deep down? What do I think? What do I believe? Who am I? What do I think of myself? And that journey of discovery was when I actually learned to find peace and tranquility. And I actually call it overcoming trauma in the front lines, reviving inner peace. And because no matter what I faced, okay, you may go through blips, because PTSD doesn't completely go away. So I would still get triggered sometimes, especially because of the work that I do. But I can always find that inner peace again and not live in fear anymore. So my book kind of describes the different steps that I took to that, finding that, but also then drawing on my experience both personally and professionally as to explaining a little bit more and giving a real life view into how that reflection worked, basically.
Fantastic.
So they get to learn a lot more of my story. And, because I ended up getting into real trouble um, as my complex PTSD got out of control. And I didn't get the help that I needed. So what I want is to, especially for first responders, but it is for everybody, is to
Right.
make sure that it doesn't get so out of control for them that they make the same mistakes.
Mm.
So it's available on different. It's available on Kindle, and it's available on like Barnes and Noble and different places internationally.
Amazon as well, right? Yeah, Kindle.
Uh, yeah, Kindle, just the Kindle version, not in Amazon itself. If
Mm.
you go through Amazon, they wanted exclusive rights, but I wanted to do it in different countries, so
Ah, okay. Oh, I didn't know that. But this is amazing. I'm very curious to read your book and find out more about your story, about the specific when everything started. Could you tell to my listeners what means CPTSD, please?
So, complex post traumatic stress disorder is really um, because of all the stress, the trauma that I went through, both personally and professionally. Because when you think, and a lot of people don't think about this, but they think, oh, police officers are trained for it and paramedics. There's no way of being trained for what we deal with and what we see, what we hear, what we smell, the emotions and dealing with not just the patient, but the families and the relatives and the other professionals. There's a lot to it that people don't really think about. And our lives are often in danger, you know. Um, so it really builds up, and you can start developing things like nightmares and flashbacks and, anxiety and um, a lot of different symptoms. And complex PTSD is when you've had major trauma on top of the other, all compounding.
Wow.
Um,
Really?
and yeah, I mean, because when you look at my personal life, and then you think about, and when I was 24, my best friend and I were raped. Um, and it was like a date rape, and they made me watch her being raped first, and then I was raped. And it's caused longer lasting issues, health wise and everything else. And um, I was in the high of my life. I'd just become engaged. I had just qualified as an EMT, which is the first stage of becoming a paramedic, and I was on a high, and then that happened. And there were repercussions of that too that you can read in the book. I was 24 years old, and I was still trying to work as a paramedic or train to be a paramedic. And that really affects your psyche.
Yeah.
And when I was going to cases then that were similar and trying to be professional and stuff, and you have to hold in your emotions, it really builds up.
Yeah.
Um,
Totally.
and that's why then it took me a long time to process all that. And even now I get triggered. We did a training course this weekend with a mixture of first responders, and then we also, like, there's housewives there who are trying to learn how to become trauma debriefers. And even just some of the stories there took me back to jobs that I
I,
went to, that then bring up different things, which is good because it means you're ready to face them and heal.
mm,
um
mm,
but it's a lot. People really don't understand the amount of sacrifice that a first responder really makes. And
yes.
then the highest, the suicide rate is so high. And again, it's never, a lot of countries don't even record it. So we're starting to record that as well. We're partnering up with a non-profit in America to help record all of that, because until we know the numbers in each country, nobody's going to take it seriously.
I believe there is so many people doing that. It is definitely. But
Yeah.
this is like I totally understand when you said like the traumas getting one after another one on top of the other, because sometimes people don't think about it. The other day I was talking with someone and I just made a simple question. Oh, the cat, so cute.
Yeah, this is my therapy cat. This
Oh,
is Smokey. He's becoming famous internationally.
oh, that's so funny. So I was asking someone a simple question. I said to this person, what is the story of your parents? And it's a young girl and she's on her she's 18 years old, but she mentioned, I don't know. And I was like, I said to her, it's really good to know. It's really good for anyone to know, find out who is your background, who is your past. Why? Because you don't get into your future and you don't become lost. Like, I don't know where I'm coming from. I don't know who I am. I don't know if I love myself, because all these things we will accumulate traumas because people don't think about it. And all these simple things like who is my father, who is my family, my, it's not like to find out who is the back, but your father has brothers and mother and father, why, who they are, what they did on the world, what is their legacy. And people get this, these days people has act so fast, like because the way they living, and
Well,
they forget, and they build it up, because you can do a lot of things, but you need to take care of yourself.
yeah. And this comes down to generational trauma too.
Yeah.
They have proved lives in your DNA. Um, and that's something that people really need to explore as well.
Yeah.
In
Also,
regard to what potentially is there from the past, and then how do I heal from the generational trauma as well.
because it's
Um,
a journey,
and,
and
and, and yeah, and it's such a bit, it's so many people don't even know about that.
yeah, yeah, it is a lot of people, and it's something that is I love to talk about, I love to bring to. And I'm talking about closest family, which is harder. When you bring to this to closest family, people tend to be more like, oh, she, they look to me like I'm crazy, but I'm real. This is real, and this is important for us to carry on our future, our today, because otherwise everything gets worse if we don't deal with these things from the past, from the families. And it give and it can become like this, what you said, like the CPTSD, which I
Right.
didn't know as a name, but wow, it is tough, it is tough. And I believe you were busy doing the things you love with the passion and working um with other people and taking care of other people, but behind the scene was this pain about whatever you pass through your life, in the past, or even the present. But there we go. You're doing a really, it's like a healing journey you're going through.
Oh, no doubt. But the one thing I want to say though is it's important that you have really done a good job with your healing journey before you start going in and start helping someone else,
Yeah.
because that's compounding your trauma. And also, that's why we want to do the trauma debriefing and debrief people as things come up, because then it's not going to compound. Now, the other thing to remember too is that there could be two people seeing the same accident, and one gets affected and the other one doesn't, and there's so many factors involved in that.
Right.
And people might look at my story and saying, oh, well, I couldn't possibly talk to you because look what you've been through. But I've got quite a high tolerance, because of my
Very.
past.
Yeah. Yes.
But so to me, this trauma is no bigger than, um,
What you.
someone else who's perceived to have gone through something less.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very important that people don't compare traumas or minimize their own trauma, because
Yeah.
we certainly won't. Even though I've got a traumatic past, everyone comes in on the same, slate,
Yeah.
because it affects all of us emotionally the same way.
That's right. Yes.
But if you get the debriefing as it comes up, guys, it will help the anxiousness, it will help the depression, it will help all those other things. And those of you that are self medicating or drinking to try and numb your pain, you can learn to stop, but we need to talk it through, figure out what the emotions are behind it, what started it, and until you deal with that, then it's not going to stop.
Yeah. So true. It is so.
And the forum's a great way to do it, because writing stuff out anonymously is getting it out
Mhm.
without you having to face someone and talk to them. And
Right.
it's completely independent. We're not connected with any big body. We're not. We're very careful to avoid too much on Facebook, on social media.
Yeah.
Really, we
Right.
want to get people into a safe, independent space, because then it's more confidential.
That's very good. Very good. Thank you so much, Sue, for this podcast session, a powerful one. One of the definitely is inspiring me more and more to do my best and to live the best way of me to heal my past. This is like a reminder again. Go back, take care of yourself so you'll be able to take care of others afterwards. No on top of, because otherwise it doesn't work. It's been a journey for myself, uh, and I do believe it's not gonna ever end, but it's getting better all the time.
Well, that's the thing, I'm not sure that there is such a thing as 100% healed, because depending on the day, there are different stages of healing, and one day you could be, quite low down on the scale, and then anything could trigger, and you go right back, and that's
Right.
fine, that's okay. But it's recognizing that, taking the time out. Okay, why is that happening?
Yeah,
And we're so used to the rat race where everyone keeps themselves so busy, so they don't put the time in to realizing what that is.
that's
What
the
we want to do is help you learn how to do that, and give you simple tools to then reduce the impact that it has on life in general. And COVID is such a big proponent of high amount of fear, stress, anxiety, depression, arguments between both sides. Is it real? Isn't it? All of the conspiracy theories, all of it. It's causing such a lot of mixed energy
yes,
that
yeah.
people really need to come talk, and let's figure out what you think, what you believe, and let's let's help you be you.
That's
And the only person that can heal you is you.
yes,
There
yeah.
aren't healers. You heal yourself. We'll just give you the tools to be able to know how to do that.
Fantastic. So you just mentioned like one part of my question, my last question, which is how can people find you and connect with you? I know we've been talking about the website, but if you could repeat again, so would be lovely.
Certainly. So it's Global Trauma Response Center dot online.
Fantastic. And that will be on the description of the podcast so my listeners can get in touch when they hear the podcast. And
Great.
thank you once again, Sue, for this amazing podcast session, this interview. And
Thanks
I,
for giving me the chance.
you're welcome. And I'm sure you're doing an amazing work. And I'm so grateful that I can hear about it. And I'm gonna be now using one of your tools, which is the website, to get people connected with the right people to get support, because nowadays we're living in a time that I don't know, but I hope that your company, your this trauma center can get more people involved working on as a, I don't know if you have volunteers or if it's
We do.
yes. So if you get more and more, because I'm sure you're going to be very busy
We'll
there.
need them.
Yeah, very busy.
Yeah.
Because this is especially now with the COVID, it's like crazy need for this
The
support.
trauma debriefing training will be going up online as well, so we will make announcements about that as well, so people can actually do that online. And then we do live practice sessions after people finish that, so that we make sure they know what they're doing, and they have to do a certain number of those, and then they get supervised for a certain number of hours. Then they get the competency certificate. Then they can work within. We're absolutely, really strict on making sure that the people that are helping people
That's
know and they're properly trained.
that's
But
really
it's a good process, and we support you through it. But
fantastic.
yeah,
So, and that's the way that people can connect with you, right? If they go to
it's
the
the best way, because typing and all is painful. Me using my arms at all is painful. I'm better on Zoom. So if they go through the website, they'll connect with my team,
Okay. All
And if they have anything specific for me, they can actually connect with Sue M on the forum in the app.
right.
There's a profile there. They can message me there, and I'll get back to them.
Fantastic. Okay, so thank you once again. You take care. Have a
Thank
good
you.
rest
Yes,
and enjoy the afternoon. Because
thank you.
afternoon now, right? I think. Yeah. We
It
are
is.
the same time
Yes.
zone. Yeah. And nice to meet you. And I'm sure I'm gonna keep in touch. I'm gonna take this application and this experience that I had today and become a little bit better. It's part of the journey. I can't say I'm gonna be best because this is there we go. We know that doesn't happen, but become
All we can try is our best, eh?
not our best, but no, be the best. I'm not gonna be saying that I'm the best because I'm trying myself to become the best, right?
Yeah. Best version of yourself.
Okay, you take care, Sue. Bye
Yeah,
bye.
you too. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Thank you as well.